Good morning, gun nuts. Nathan from the Reload Room, coming to you with our weekly recap of the Reloaders Network. Happy Easter to y'all. It is also April 1st, which is possibly the day. There's also a possibility it's April 13th that YouTube is going to start limiting the reloading videos. But until then, we've been able to put out quite a bit of content over the past week. First off, we've got West Desert Shooter's Tika build. I just find this really entertaining. I've really gotten into watching the long range shooters videos. West Desert Shooter, Social Regressive, some of these other guys that I don't know why. It's funny because I'm typically a revolver shooter, Milsurp guy, so it's been interesting getting into this. In fact, I might actually get into the hobby. It just looks like it's really interesting. Speaking of which, the Social Regressive does a 1,000 yard for $500 video series that's really interesting. He utilizes a Savage and goes through and kind of creates a gun that is capable of shooting out 650 or 1,000 yards with some semblance of accuracy. One of the bigger things I got out of the video was the optimal charge weight load development. I've never really dealt with this too much. Mainly I've done ladder building for most of my load development. However, I think this is possibly something we would look into when we move into some of the rifle load development series. I don't think the Henry is going to deal with this too much because I'm looking for a very specific speed for bullet performance. So I don't think it's going to work there. However, for other rounds where the primary focus is just accuracy, I think this is going to be something we're going to delve into a little bit. Kyle Lusk, fellow Georgia boy, he does a video where he introduces us to his Silver Boy Henry. He won some molds over during the Taco Bacon live chat, and that led him down the path of picking up a new rifle, and he really seems to enjoy it, and it's a beautiful gun. And speaking of beautiful, Uncle Jim, for his subscriber giveaway, finished the hatchet. I think it's for the first winner. I think he did like 3 winners, I think. And that hatchet is just amazing. It's really beautiful to see what somebody can do utilizing, I think they said, a railroad stake. So something that has very minimal purpose in everyday life to make something that's, I mean, to me, it's really actually artwork. It's just beautiful. I recommend just kind of looking at it just to see what's going on. Fortune Cookie 45 LC did an informative video for you guys that have Model 25 Smiths. Keep in mind, I guess, that there is a possibility that the 454 Casull will chamber in those guns. Now, I don't know if it's a date-specific thing or a model-specific, where after a certain model or a certain variant that they stop doing that, or if they continue to go. I'd say go on his videos. If you have one, test yours, see if it is, and then you guys can build kind of an idea of what all Model 25 Smiths will chamber 454 Casull. That's a serious safety issue. It sounded like Smith kind of really blew him off, which is unfortunate because I've met many people that don't understand how ammunition works, and they go out and they buy a firearm, and if it'll fit in the hole, it'll get fired. I can't tell you how many times I've seen, you know, bulged cases from being fired in guns that weren't supposed to be in it, and not just one. I mean, like a whole box of brass laying there on the gun range that you knew were not supposed to be fired in whatever weapon it was fired in. Gunfun ZS did a video on like a portable cart for a Magnum Mastercaster. If you've never seen a Magnum Mastercaster, they're amazing. I can usually pump out about 90 throws an hour using my RCBS Pro 20, and so depending on the size of the mold, let's say I do a 4-cavity mold, that leads to about 360 bullets an hour. There's going to be some attrition there, so usually about 320, maybe a little bit more, are going to be useful bullets. Now the Magnum Mastercaster can put out like, I think like 500 to 800 bullets an hour, and that's with like a 2-cavity type mold. And so if that's something, if like just bulk casting is kind of your thing, if you're just making like a billion 45 200 grain semi-wad cutters, this is something serious to look into. And the idea of a portable cart for the casting setup is really interesting. I never really considered that. I don't know why I never thought about it, it would have been beneficial for me because I do most of my reloading in the house right now, and I don't like having to cast inside. Having like a portable cart like that would actually be really helpful. I could just roll it out in the deck and cast right out there and then roll everything right back in. TATV, he did a video on a True Glow Triton 1x28mm red dot sight, and I'm looking into possibly getting a different sight for the Henry for testing purposes. The reason why is I don't do all that great with buckhorn. I do okay, but the front bead is really kind of large and it makes it difficult. So you end up having to balance ball on top of ball, especially at longer distances. And to me, it's a very inaccurate. It's really good for like picking up deer and stuff like that. Trust me, I would not leave that sight on there for the long term. But something like this may be a good option for us moving forward with load development, just because it'll give us the best accuracy for what we have. For me, the gun accuracy, of course, isn't going to change, but my ability to be able to be accurate with the gun would change. If you guys have any experience with this sight, please comment on this video and just let me know. Or possibly go to one of the Henry videos and kind of tell me, hey, that this isn't working. But anyway, like always, amazing video, great production. He does a bang-up job. Johnny's Reloading Bench does a video on 6.5mm Creedmoor reloading. This goes back to kind of me looking at these long distance shooting, and I think the 6.5 Creedmoor is the direction I would like to go if I end up building one. But you know, good luck to him. He didn't blow his face off, which is good. He did an IMR 4451 and Reloader 22 loads, and one thing I learned out of this was accounting for compressed charges affecting the seating depth of the bullets. I did not ever really think about that too much. If you have a compressed charge, you're going to have more positive pressure, which is actually going to affect your seating depth just a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind, especially some of my, even my milsurps, I'll load out almost right out to the lands, like 10,000s from lands or something like that. I think 20 is what you're supposed to do, but when you're doing something like that, you know, making a 2 or 4 thousandths difference in seating depth can be a big deal. So keep that in mind. The 4451 loads did really, really amazing. Go ahead and jump on his video and take a look at that. It's a pretty impressive show of force from the 4451 and the 6.5 Creedmoor. KFW, he made some very cool widgets in a kind of, it's a vlog style approach of a video. He's talking about how these YouTube changes can kind of affect this peer review style of information exchange that we have going on. The video is not entirely that, but he kind of goes into that for a little while, and it's interesting because it gives you kind of a real view of how these policy changes actually affect people. It's not just that it affects industry and gun companies and things like that. No, it just affects people that are doing their life, and how this is actually could be very limiting for them and affect how they're going about doing things. And I think that's kind of important to understand when you're making policy changes and you're looking at policies, is not just how it's going to affect the world at large, but how it affects the actual individual person, because individual liberty is kind of the whole point of the game. But going over a couple videos today, I appreciate it, and we're going to keep coming up with the weekly recaps here on YouTube, and I'm going to try to do as good a job as I can to get videos up for the rest of my series. And I'm also on BitChute, so take a look at that. Until then, stay safe, have fun. I'll see you when I see you. Laters.